Today we're traveling to a state that I'm really excited about. It is a coveted tag that I was lucky enough to draw this year. It's a place where it's illegal to kiss a woman on the mouth if you have a mustache in public. Well, pucker up, Iowa. It's a state that produces a ton of agriculture. In fact, 90-some% is nothing but farms, which is awesome. And another reason why they grow great giant whitetail.
Well, we just rolled into town here in Iowa. We're going to see my buddy Chad at Midwest Antler Company.
And if you're gonna go to Iowa, why not go to Midwest Antler Company? Sounds like a factory that makes antlers, and basically that's what they do. They send you home with giant antlers.
Oh man, it's been a while since I've been back to Iowa. I drew a tag this year, a bow tag. It's been warm all across the Midwest, but we're hitting this thing at maybe just the right time. Don't let the unassuming metal building fool you, because inside it's like 5-star hunting lodge you built yourself, man.
Well, we've been coming out to Iowa to see our good friends at Midwest Antler Company for quite a while now. There's no other people quite like the Johnstons. We love spending time with them and their family.
I'm eating for two, just because I'm at Chad's. Right? Who wouldn't here, man?
Chad has got a great operation with Midwest Antler Company, and we look forward to going out there every year. Unfortunately, you don't always get to draw an Iowa tag. So when we do draw tags out there, we are absolutely super excited. Yeah, like that excited.
Oh, I can't believe it. Look at this. Look at the head on that animal.
I'm going to grab my popcorn. Red Arrow's in Iowa this week, and it's time for some stuff to go down.
The Hoyt's on a little bit of a heater. The old Carbon Defiant's been tearing it up. I think I shot everything but the kitchen sink in the last state we were in Kansas. And if I'd have had a tag for the kitchen sink, I'd have shot that too. It's still a fair chase bow hunt, and there's no guarantees, but it just makes you have goosebumps every time you sit in a stand in Iowa, because you know that the next world record and the next 180-inch deer or whatever could walk around the corner.
You know, I'll tell you what, boys and girls, I've been very fortunate over the last few years to draw the coveted Iowa tag a couple times.
You're up next, dude. Daggone right.
On my first Iowa trip, I killed a really nice buck and a doe with my bow and arrow.
Great big old 10-pointer, baby.
I gotta get a man hug.
Look at that mass. All he carries is mass all the way out. He's bladed.
Man, I had a great hunt the second time I went out there too. I dropped a great big old mature 10-point.
We're in Iowa, baby. We just uncorked one on a giant.
Big old buck, just couldn't be more happy about my experience in Iowa.
We came to Iowa looking for a big buck, but gosh darn, that's a stud. Red Arrow TV. Red Bullet TV, I guess, today.
Well, somebody else in my family also drew an Iowa tag once upon a time. My wife, Kat.
All we've got is tomorrow morning then before our flights go out. So we really could use a kill tonight.
Turns out about a 120 ran up to Kat within like 70, 80, 90 yards.
Should I not shoot him? Here comes more deer to our left.
And that would have been like by far the biggest deer she's ever killed.
I mean, yeah, I think he's awesome, but I've never shot anything but a spike.
But her and Josh are looking at it thinking, okay, Chad said a giant deer is coming. Turns out that was her only opportunity. Which goes to show you that a 120 in the hand is worth a 170 in the bush. That's a fact.
First evening in Iowa, boys. first evening sit in Iowa. We're kind of near a highway, so you're gonna be able to hear a lot of cars, but this is a spot we've hunted. Man, Josh, what, 5 years ago? Me and Josh actually hung this set. This is a spot that Chad's got some absolute giants on trail camera. And the craziest thing about it is they come from the adjacent property and they go under the bridge in the highway, so through the creek, up this creek bed to this pond right here, and this whole pond dam is planted in Antler King turnips, which they've absolutely annihilated. They're eating them down to the nubs. Got a cut bean field behind us, and this is just like a little travel corridor. Great place this time of year to catch bucks cruising looking for does. We're in like peak chase phase of the rut, or just about to be anyway. We're gonna settle in, the sun's starting to sink, see if we can get a little hour or two hunt in, and we're gonna get up in the morning and hit it hard again. Try to go hang some stands and do some scouting. First day in Iowa, baby. Here we go.
Well, that evening we saw a young 8-pointer, and he came almost in range, but not quite. Saw a few does out in the field, but that was pretty much it for the first evening.
Well, boys and girls, it's another beautiful sunrise here in Iowa. It's a beautiful cold morning out here. This will be our first full day of hunting. Josh and I moved about a couple 100 yards, maybe 150 yards from where we were last night. And we've already seen 2 bucks, 2 younger 8-pointers. One of them was out in the field chasing a doe, dogging her.
Saw a couple coyotes. Would have loved to shot them if they'd have just come a little bit closer.
Well, that was exciting. He's an 8-point. He's got great big brows and like nothing else. Man, I'm not making fun of him. I'd definitely knock 3 people over to shoot him in Virginia. But I want to try to shoot a little something bigger than that out here in Iowa.
Then we see a really big buck come out, and I rattled and grunted everything I could.
We just had a really good shooter buck. Skirt us on the other side of the field. I rattled and grunted, snort, wheezed, and bleated, and just wouldn't. He had somewhere else to be, I guess. He had 2 other bucks over there. One smaller one trailing him. He ducked off in the woods. I had to put on an extra layer of Nomad. I was getting chilly. I brought this big puffy jacket, and the thing saved my life. And this wind's whipping, boy. It's cold. Now I'm nice and toasty. That's a good morning right there. Dang, we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 racked bucks, good bucks, and a few does. 2 coyotes. I tried to get 1 shot, but. All right, well, it's the second morning here in Iowa. We've got a full moon. It's setting in the morning, rising in the evening. Not only that, it is a super moon, which just basically means that it's a little closer to the earth, so it's bigger. And this morning we're walking in, and there's already deer in the field, but we're running about half an hour late at least. And there's a coyote digging a hole, not paying us any attention. And so I knock an arrow and walk up to within like 100 yards of him. Still not paying attention. I ease in 10 more yards, and I was scared he was gonna spook, so I shot at him. think I missed. All the while that's happening, the shooter from yesterday is walking right under our tree stand probably. At least he came out of these block of woods right here. And he walks right to us, and he gets within like 99 yards of us. And then finally kind of spooked a little and ran off into the woods right here. But who's to say, but we definitely would have had a better chance at killing him if we were out here an hour earlier and sitting in the tree stand. Instead of sitting around sipping coffee, running our mouth with Chad. That's my fault. I guess the moral of the story is, when you're running late for a deer hunt, don't take time to do a coyote stalk in the dark.
Well, the second morning was a little slower and the wind shifted, so we decided to set a trail camera to keep an eye on the spot we'd been hunting while we moved to a cedar thicket. Right off the bat, we caught a shooter buck chasing some does through the trees. This doe reads the script. She comes out perfect, but when the buck comes out, it's not the shooter we were thinking it was. So when I figure out there's no good bucks behind this doe, I decide to go ahead and punch my doe tag.
I was gonna let her live as long as I could until she just couldn't take it no more. She followed that deer down there. I sprayed on my boots.
You know, with all the rutting activity that's going on, I started doing some rattling and grunting. Two small bucks start fighting, and another 10-pointer steps out in the field behind us, and he's headed our way. It looks like it's gonna happen, man. This 10-pointer's coming, and then he turns at 70 yards and just walks away.
The good news is he didn't really freak out and pull out of here, even though he was right downwind. He's a good deer, had good mass. If he'd have come in and give me a broadside shot, I would have probably shot him. But he was quartering to me at 70 yards, so it's a little tough. And then he turned straight and walked away. That's not really obviously not a shot you want to take. That big one's still up on the hill. That deer right there came to the horns hard, so might rattle it just a little bit more.
Well, the bigger 10 we kept catching glimpses of was locked down with his doe, and we watched him head out to the cornfield for the evening, so we snuck out in the moonlight with hopes of getting right back there the next day. Because this was such a hot spot for rutting activity, I didn't want to mess anything up. Finally, this doe comes out of the brush, She's coming down the 10-yard trail. I'm just hoping she jumps the fence and goes on out of here, so at least maybe a buck might follow her across the fence. So instead of doing that, what she decides to do is get right past me. I'm just like, don't look at me, don't, just stop. You need to just save your own life. Stop looking at me. Knock it off. I'm not here. You just need to go on and live and go live to eat more soybeans and corn. Just live to be another year older. You just blew at me. So once a doe blows at me, I have a pretty simple but standard policy to execute her on the spot with extreme prejudice. There's no room for that. We're just trying to peacefully hunt up here. You've blown up our spot. We were after a trophy buck until now, and you screwed the whole thing up for yourself and everybody else around you. That's it.
You got her.
I shot this deer. The deer around her didn't even flinch. It's the rut. Things are chaotic. Deer just lose their mind during the rut. They don't even care. She runs off and dies quietly. It's the perfect scenario. It is perfect, as Ted Nugent would say.
Well, I still remember the day she met me, just as wild as any young girl can be.
When that doe blew at me, I took the appropriate measures and killed her. But then I think at the sight of her dead body, the buck that was trying to breed her was like,
This is such a hot spot. We don't want to screw it up. So I leave Josh. I go by myself in the dark. Don't even use a flashlight. I slip down in there and I drag this doe out. I got her out of there as quiet as I could. Didn't disturb anything. Didn't spook a single deer. So we could keep this as a hunting option for the next day.
We didn't come home empty-handed today. Ended up shooting a doe down in the bottom. We had a ton of rutting activity and I shot this doe. And I went down there by myself and just drug her out real quiet so we wouldn't bust this place out for tomorrow. She was sitting there stomping and blowing and stomping, and I said, you know what, honey, I got a doe tag. So fortunately, she's not the biggest doe in the state of Iowa, and they got some big does around here, so she'll be halfway easy to load.
Thank you to everybody who made the show possible today. Don't forget to check out our online store. Give Chad some love at Midwest Antler Company. We're going to be back next week with an action-packed show. We're going to chase down the big buck that we're going to hang that coveted Iowa bow tag on. I can promise you that because I already know what happened. I'm not Nostradamus, but I know what happened. We'll see y'all next week on Red Arrow TV.